What's up, everyone? This week on the pod, we are back and talking hardcore. You know what's up. Thanksgiving just passed. Just want to take the time out to thank everyone that has supported this podcast. It is episode 150, which is kind of wild. Time flies. We never missed a week, and it's been lots of hard work plugging away and just sticking to it. This is a group effort, so thanks to everyone who helps out with the pod, who supports the pod, and especially the Patreons who really do keep this thing alive. Couldn't do it without their support. So that's that. Please support the podcast by subscribing to it wherever you listen to it. Also, if you listen on Apple Podcasts, if you can rate it and review it, I do not know why it matters, but it does. So it matters to me. Also, on the website, 185milessouth.com, there's a playlist link at the top, and we make a playlist for every episode just so you guys can check out the music that we talk about. That's what it is all about, the music. That's what's up. Also, on the website, smash that Patreon button. These people do keep the podcast alive. But, let's get on with the pod.
Vocal test karaoke.
Fred Hammer from It's Alive.
"185 Miles South," a hardcore punk rock podcast.
Questions and answers.
Introducing first, the challenger, fighting out of the hard corner. He dove on your head to Powerhouse. Now he can sell you a condo or a house. Representing the San Ramon Mush Crew from San Ramon, California, it's Jeremy Lux. And his opponent, fighting out of the core corner, from parts unknown, weight unknown. Reason he didn't pick Minor Threat in the Straight Edge Super 7, unknown. It is the reigning, defending, undisputed 185 Miles South trivia champion of the world, Daniel, these questions are too easy, Sant.
All right, and the first question goes to Jeremy Lux. Jeremy, which type of gimmick pro wrestling match is depicted on the cover of Powerhouse Pandemonium? Is it A, Steel Cage, B, Battle Royal, C, Texas Death Match, or D, Dog Collar Match?
The answer is B.
B, Battle Royal. You are correct. A point, Jeremy Lux.
Yeah.
They don't need the A, B, C, Ds. Battle Royale should be enough. Like, he should know that anyway.
I did.
Well, all right.
I let him finish.
Fair enough. All right, here we go. Dan, with your first question. A light bulb and the singer of The Exploited could both be described as this.
Watty.
A point to the champ. Point to the champ. All right, we go to Jeremy for your second question. A long, high sea wave caused by an earthquake, and also an ass-beater band from the Bay.
What is tsunami?
A point to Jeremy.
No T.
Oh,
Oh, shit.
1.5 points to Jeremy and a shout-out to Bedge's article. All right, Dan, we go to you for your second question. The first step hails from which state? Hint, woo!
Carolina.
Where in North Carolina specifically?
No, not Chapel Hill. Where do they?
Nope.
God, we played there.
Rally for the Steel.
Boom. But the question was a state, so the champ gets it.
Yeah, but I wanted extra points.
I feel you. I
You
feel
don't.
you. It's 2-2 going into the third round. Jeremy. Oh, Dan, you're gonna love this one. We're moving to the DVD era of the greatest series of compilations. Jeremy, AFI has a video on the Cinema Beer Nuts video compilation for the song "He Who Laughs Last."
Okay.
At the beginning of the video, the character says, "As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be what?"
A gangster.
Say the answer one more time.
A gangster?
We go to Daniel for the potential steal. Daniel, AFI has a video on the Cinema Beer Nuts video comp for the song "He Who Laughs Last." At the beginning of the video, the character says, "As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be what?"
A punk rocker.
No points this round. It is in a hardcore band.
Oh, even stupider.
It's not the best. I will say that.
Jeremy quoted the film correctly.
Yeah.
No, I know that is the film. And that's why it's a knockoff of the film. All right, Dan, your question number 3. A Stalag 13 12-inch, an agnostic front song, and also an Oxnard band that released 2 LPs on Indecision Records in the early 2000s.
In Control.
Point to the champ. How about that? All right. This might ruffle Dan's feathers, but we got to go anyway. Jeremy, round number 4. Jeremy, which mosh crew brings it the hardest? Is it A, Danville, B, Livermore, C, Pleasanton, or D, San Ramon?
San Ramon Mosh Crew. Come on.
Point
Come
to
on.
Jeremy.
Well, actually, that's factually incorrect. The Danville Mosh Crew just repping the Grange, just smashing fools.
Interesting. Interesting you say that.
All right, let's go to Dan.
Some of the Mosh Crew members actually lived in Danville. So there was a gray area.
So throw the question out.
Nope, it stands. Dan, your question number 4. What is the last name of the singer of The Offspring? And all okay, this is let me rephrase. It's all fucked up. Come on, let me say the question. It's cute. The last name of the singer of The Offspring, and also the country where Funeral Oration hails from.
Holland, a.k.a. the Netherlands.
There you go. Point to the champ. Okay. Jeremy, round number 5. According to a Hood song off the Alone EP, this time when you die, the singer will feel what?
Nothing.
Point to Jeremy.
Can I take a point away?
For what?
You asked me that the first time I played the trivia.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, hold on. I have your old ones here. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba.
I've been robbed and I've been repeated. So I'll take what I can.
Oh, you're incorrect. Your Hood's question on the first trivia was, according to the first Hood's LP on Victory Records, what is the Destroyer?
Oh, that is time. That is correct.
Yeah. So
I'll take the point back.
go ahead and take that point away from him.
We should take the point for
Questioning the quizmaster.
How about an extra point for being honest? Unlike Dan.
I should get the point for being the ref right there. I thought Ben would be on top of that.
Oh, he
Okay.
turned out when we said hoods.
That's true. Ben went to pee.
He did leave the room.
All right,
I have diarrhea.
Oh.
Well, thank you for that. That sounds like a song on Cinema Beer Goggles. Okay,
Or at least depicted in a video.
right. Dan, your question number 5. True or false? On the back cover of the Sick of It All LP, Blood, Sweat, No Tears, both the bass player and the guitarist have facial hair.
the bass player and the guitarist of Sick of It All in that era both do have facial hair. They at least have mustaches. Pete might have a goatee. I'm going to say true.
Point to the champ.
Yeah.
He is the champ for a reason, people. Jeremy, we go to you for round number 6. True or false? The cover of the Bad Brains Roar tape shows a lightning bolt striking the White House.
False.
A point to Jeremy. All right. It is striking the Capitol building.
That's right.
But that's one that could fuck you.
It sure can.
I know. All right,
You're
Ben.
thinking of Independence Day.
All right. All right, Dan, here's your question number 6. This Pennsylvania band shares a name with a song off Jizza's LP Liquid Swords.
Cold World.
A point to the champ. Okay. Ben, let's go to you for the subtotals.
All right. Jeremy has 5 points, and the reigning champion, Dan, has 6 points. So it's
All right,
anyone's game.
That's right. And let's take it to the final round.
What? What? Okay.
All right. So, Jeremy, you have 5 points. How many of those 5 do you want to wager on this daily double round?
3.
Okay, Jeremy's going to wager 3. And Dan, how many of your 6 points do you want to wager?
So he's wagering 3. I'll wager 2.
Okay, and here we go. I got to hit the yellow button. Jeremy, this is yours.
And I'm supposed to guess what he just said.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can play it as many times as you want. Here we go again. I'm going to play it 3 times in a row.
Okay. You look around.
No, he actually says, heard it all before.
No, get the
What?
fuck out of here. No,
What? Okay.
no, you hear around, don't you? Do it one more time. You're fucking with me. No,
Here we go. Heard it all before. Everyone sing along.
no.
No. He definitely doesn't say before.
Yes, he does. Listen. Heard it all before.
Oh my god.
There, dude. Yep. It's right
He's
there.
not making the F sound in before. He's not going f. He's going heard it all, but ow.
That was a good rendition.
I like how progressively every one we do of these, Ben is getting more and more in a to life mentality.
They're really growing on me. I think they're fast becoming my favorite hardcore band of all time.
All right, Dan, let's go to you for yours. Here we go.
What? What?
3 times in a row. Here we go.
One more. Oh shit! Sorry, I spoke over it.
All good.
I'm going to give you a hint that won't help you at all. What he's saying bears no resemblance to what it sounds like he's saying.
Oh god! Can I hear it one more time?
Of course. Here we go.
One more time.
Oh, fuck.
I know it.
No, you don't.
No, I'm saying that's what he's saying. I know it now. I know it now.
A noble effort, but he says, truth comes with time. Let's listen again. Everyone sing along.
No, it doesn't.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. No, he does not. And truth does not come with time because I tried to listen to that 10 times.
All right.
Oh my
Ben, let's go to you for the totals.
All right. Jeremy started the round with 5 points. He wagered 3, and he did not get this audio clue correct because no one does ever. So 5 minus 3 equals 2. Jeremy ends the game with 2 points. Dan started the round with 6 points, wagered 2, didn't get it correct because no one ever does. 6 minus 2 equals 4. Dan walks away with 4 points and the crown and the belt. He is still the champion.
Yeah, Jeremy, you jobber, get to the back. Go clean up the changing rooms. Go speak to nice guy Tony and cry some more.
Nice guy Tony, voice guy Tony.
Oh, that's what I meant. But he's a nice guy too.
He's a very nice guy and painfully handsome. You know. Anyway. All right, noble effort, Jeremy. Thank you. Congrats, Dan, on another epic win.
Thank you. Jeremy, better luck next time, kid.
Fuck off.
What's up, everyone? This week on the pod, we are talking hardcore, helping out. You know him, you love him. It is the best dressed man on the pod. It is Daniel Sant. What's up, Dan?
You're twisting my melon, man.
Also helping out, it is Ben Merlis, a.k.a. Ben Edge, a.k.a. Bedge. What's up, Ben?
I'm glad this is audio only because I'm having a bad hair day and I'm wearing my own band's t-shirt.
What happened to what's going on, dude? You swooped that line back from Daniel Sant, and now you don't say it.
I'll say it next time.
All right, well, right on. Also helping out, it is the mighty Posi Chris. What's up, Chris?
What's going on?
That's right, dude. Put some respect on Ben's friend's name. What's up? All right. Well, we wanted to do another one where we talk about some stuff that we want to get highlighted. So for this segment, we're going to talk about that. And I'm going first, dude. So what's up? I wanted to talk about the new Punitive Damage songs that came out. It's 3 new songs that are going to be a 7-inch. I think the pre-order is up, so follow Punitive Damage wherever you do on the internet and order that thing. I'm holding out until they put all their songs on a 12-inch because that's what's up. I hate flipping a 7-inch.
Well, I'm gonna pre-order it.
Well, Dan's the true American hardcore hero, so
one of the colors are sold out already, so got to get on the second one.
I know. Get on it. Get on the second rarity if you want to flip it in 5 years for $60. But yeah, like I love these songs. I love that like Punitive Damage drops like I feel like 3 or 4 songs every year, and it's like I'm waiting for them, and then they come and they always deliver. You know, again, props to Chris for turning me on to this band. He turns me on to every good band that I like. And these 3 songs, like, do not let up at all. Like, they're exactly what I needed. You know, the first song, Legacy, is just a full-on, like, D-beat banger. And it's not just, like, generic D-beat. They do, like, lots of chokes and stops to, like, keep it interesting. And all these songs, like, this one clocks in at under a minute. So it's like, fuck, dude. Just straight rager. The next one, the Red Surge song, like we're coming in now with a mid-tempo banger, and it's sick because it's like over a Youth Crew beat, but it just sounds like so burly because Steph's vocals are like out of this world, shredded in like the most perfect monotone way. It's like I love listening to it. It sounds like it's just another instrument in the band almost. So brutal and awesome. And then yeah, they do like these powerful cymbal ring outs on the song, and I think that like what makes this band so special, they kind of do it on the next song as well because like it's a faster song and they go into this big buildup at the end and you think like a big mosh part's coming, but it never comes. And I think that partially it's like what makes this band so special is like they're leaning more into like that early SSD vibe where everything is like the punctuation on like the percussion and really like just building this energy and power instead of like falling into like typical tropes of hardcore. Even though they're not really breaking any boundaries, it's just interesting the way they lean. And I think it adds so much power and fury to this band and really makes it stand apart. Chris, how did you feel about these new songs?
It's funny you said like almost everything that I was going to say exactly word for word. I think the first thing that stands out, this is 3 songs in under 3 minutes. So you got 259 seconds of absolute ragery. Steph's voice, like you said, is just like another step more gnarly than the last record. All three of these are great songs. Like they're each a little bit different, which is cool. Like it mixes things up a little bit. And then I think my favorite is the third one, which is Strike Back. It's just like, so it starts out with the verse, which is fast, but it's like, this makes sound contradictory, but it's super sing-alongable, even though I don't know what the first lyrics are. Like it keeps repeating, like it'll do something, something, for what? Something, something, for what? I don't know what the something, something is. I'll have to wait till I get that lyric sheet, but it makes the verse kind of even more sing-alongable than the chorus. Then the chorus is, you know, mid-tempo, so it breaks it up. And then, you know, I put down the same thing that you did on the breakdown is not even really just a breakdown. It's just like a long build-up that doesn't, like a fake out almost. But to me, it kind of reminds, like the way the vocals are over the build, it kind of reminds me of, it kind of has like Youth of Today vibes. But I love it. Love the 7-inch. Love this band. Psyched to get the records.
Yeah, I think the only thing they're teasing me on here is like, because yeah, like the last song, the Strike Back, is pretty fast, and it would be a fast song for a normal band, but like there's not like the hyper speed rager on this one, and it's like I'm waiting for it, but it's nice. It's like these songs don't give it to me, but I know they're going to give it to me because they give it to me before, you know. So I'm excited for it. Dan, what do you think about this?
Anger personified, fucking amazing, straightforward, brutal hardcore. Her voice is incredible. I want to see this band really, really, really bad. I love it, and I am checking out right now, buying the second press of the first 7-inch and this 7-inch right now, as we speak.
And someone put them all on 1 12-inch, goddammit. You could fit them all on one side, too. That would be the illest. You know, I can't wait. Ben, what do you think about this?
The music sounds like hardcore played by people who wear a lot of spikes but still love breakdowns.
Even though I don't think there's a breakdown on this, like
there is.
7-inch.
You talked about it. It's
Well,
it's either the second or the third song.
No, okay. The second song, you could say the chorus is a break, or the third song, you say like the chorus is kind of breakdowny.
Yeah,
right?
There's like there's tempo changes. Yeah.
There's tempo changes, but it doesn't give you like the slammer, you know. But yeah,
all right, fair enough.
On. That's right, fair enough. What's up? All right, Dan, let's go on to your choice. The Down and Outs, their album from 2004. Go ahead and say what it is.
It's called The Boys from the Black Stuff, which they're a Liverpudlian band. And The Boys from the Black Stuff was a UK TV show set in Liverpool during Thatcher era of joblessness. And it followed a bunch of Liverpudlians. And the sample at the beginning of the first song is from the TV show. I fucking love this band a lot. There's 3 different singers, so you get 3 different vocals on this LP. The person who sings the first song, which is my favorite of all their songs, his name was The Ego. like that's all I've known him as. That was his nickname. He also did kind of a Britpoppy band around the time, apparently, or Libertines-ish. And then Mark is the main driving force of the band, and he is the singer on most of the songs. And then Kev, who also sang in a brutal northern straight edge band called Seconds Out, is the guitar player and the third singer, who has the most like raspy, aggressive sounding voice out of the 3.
Seconds Out, round 1.
That's right. I absolutely love this band. They're the perfect mix of coming from a UK heritage so, you know, there's a little bit of Oi in there, but they obviously love Kid Dynamite and Rancid just as much as what is being expressed, you know, subconsciously through their makeup. The backups are placed in really cool ways. Shout out Mark Boardman. Some of them are a little bit off tune, and that makes them even cooler. I really love it, and I just wanted to bring it up on the pod because I would love people to check this out that would never come across the dial in 2021, you know? And I think if we've got a chance to give things that we've enjoyed for many, many years a chance, like for someone else to give it a listen, that's why I'm doing it.
First off, a band name like that band name Seconds Out, that is so brilliant, dude. What a great band name. But Chris, you love street punk. How does this stack up to the stuff that you love?
I'm super hyped that you picked this one, Dan, because I love this record too. Like, it stands the test of time. We played with them back, right around the time that this came out, and it was, I had never heard them before, and it was like, whoa, this is cool and different. Different from. They stood out on a hardcore, an all-day hardcore show, basically. And, picked up the record, love the record, still play it to this day. I think, Dan did a good job, explaining the sound, but there's a lot of Coxbar in there, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
I think mostly in the vocals, I think, because the dude's, one of the singers, the one that I think probably sings the most.
The first one.
Kind of a little bit higher of a voice, a la Coxbar. But, this doesn't sound like hardcore kids playing punk. Like, it sounds like legit punk, which is kind of cool. My favorite track on this is track 4, Another Night Alone. I've put this on many mixtapes that I've made over the years. It's just
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, it's just such a cool song about, being stir crazy, stuck at home, alone. You can't get a hold of your friends to come hang out. So, your record player is keeping you company. And that's kind of the vibe of the song. And they even drop a Kid Dynamite reference in the song. But I love this, definitely highly recommend checking it out. And anyone that hasn't, and they're still a band. They released a song, a single this year, which is also pretty awesome. But
yeah, and Mark did a few live stream, Instagram lives where he would do acoustic down and out sets during the main pandemic where everyone was still staying at home. Another Night Alone.
That's cool.
Dan, do you mostly love this because it's British, though? Because, if this came out on, Pirates Press last year, would you love it as much?
No, I would really love it, but the thing that made me love it more than anything is when Over My Dead Body played Manchester, they played with us and, playing all across Europe with, local bands being on shows and stuff. And then this band plays, and they were fucking incredible. Live, and the audience absolutely loved them. So I was in love from the first. They opened with the Boys from the Black Stuff, that song, and just it sat with me so much more. Also, they're essentially from close to where I'm from, and they're singing about growing up on that song in particular. Growing up in Thatcher's Britain, and it really registers with me. But I do appreciate the question because, sometimes I will vote for something a little bit more on those realms, but not this. And I think, you should sit with it a little bit more because I think it's right up your alley too.
No, I enjoyed it upon first listen. It sounds good. It sounds like good street punk. And all the guys have pretty good voices. So the only thing I would say is just being a UK band and having a song called Boots and Braces is a little sus. I would have rather had title that song Ian Stewart ate his steering wheel in Derbyshire or something.
In Blackpool.
Was it Blackpool, not Derbyshire?
I think it's Blackpool. Wasn't he driving home from and who cares? Rest in piss, Curtis.
That's right.
Rest in piss, Ian.
That's right. Ben, how do you feel about this?
I totally got the Coxbar thing too right away. and maybe a little bit of. Is anyone else familiar with the band Vanilla Muffins? I think they're a band from Switzerland. No one else knows of this band. They're like
No.
Yeah, I've heard.
they're very melodic. They're like if you took Oi and pushed it to its most melodic to the point where it's not even Oi anymore. It's just whatever you'd call that, anthemic melodic street punk,
Like power pop punk. Almost.
Yeah, but really similar to this, like anthemic street punk with people who are skinheads who are fans. A lot of them, I guess. The guy who got me into Vanilla Muffins is a skinhead, and at times I even hear Dillinger 4 in this band, and I'm referring to the songs that Patty sings for Dillinger 4. I don't. I guess my only complaint is that the album is really long for a punk record. I mean, it's like 40 minutes, which is like normal for a regular band's record, but for punk, we're so used to short bursts. And I know this is not an A-side versus B-side thing, but I would pick the A-side over the B-side if it were. Yeah.
Well, Ben, I like that you brought up the D4 because I was listening to this in my car today, and there was one song that I swear the chord progressions were the same, like from the verse to the chorus, and it's the first song on Midwestern Songs. Like, there's a song on here that has like the same exact stuff, but it's a little slower. Like, it's not as like D4 does that up tempo like pulsing music, and yeah, it was like that. And then talking about like the backups being like not completely on tune, another D4 thing. Like, yeah, there was a song that really, really leaned into that.
Yeah, and I would have. My guess is that it's a coincidence, but being that now I know that they are fans of Kid Dynamite, I think it might not be a coincidence because I didn't know that these guys were fans of American punk as well as British punk. What is the Kid Dynamite reference? I totally missed it.
There's a line where he says, what is it? So I'm sitting alone, just getting fat with Kid Dynamite on for a fucking blast.
Oh, he names Kid Dynamite.
Just
Okay.
name checked them. Right on.
Yeah.
Well, Ben, let's go on to yours. Go ahead and it's Jade Dust, but they put out a new record, which is called
6-track EP, and it is a 12-inch, and it is 6 tracks, if you can believe that. I think that it's the pre-order's up. I don't know the estimated date does anyone know the estimated date when anyone will ever get a record again? I mean, but
hopefully you'll get it before 2023.
Yeah, this is on streaming though. It's on the streaming services, so check it out. The Jade Dust are from Portland, Oregon, and they're like a Revolution summer style band, like melodic mid-tempo, lots of chorus on the guitar. Reminds me of bands like Embrace, Rain, and Ignition, all of Zach's favorite Discord bands. That the song Signal Towers totally has that vocal pattern that you hear in Give Me Back by Embrace, where it's like, play, 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 play. It's like, wait, I heard that in an Embrace song. But they do it really well. And Rudy Young and Chris Dupree, I knew them when they lived in Santa Barbara, and then they moved up to Portland, and they've been in a bunch of bands throughout. They were in a band called Become before this, which is very similar, but Jade Dust is, I think, an improvement over that band. And Jade Dust is actually a reference to another Discord band. There's a song called Jade Dust Eyes by Shudder to Think. There are lots of, they want you to know. If you know, you know, basically. And they even have a song called Embrace the Hours. So there you go. The name of the band, Embrace, in one of their song titles. And Learn to Scream has this cool, like, punkified version of the main riff for Dazed and Confused by Zeppelin or Paranoid by Sabbath, like, but like done way faster. So they're throwing all kinds of fun stuff in this, in the tracks, and Rudy doubles his vocals in certain parts. And I'm a fan of that. I like it when that happens, like when you're trying to accentuate a part of a song. So you double your vocal just on that part, and then you go back to the single vocal. And then the record cover looks really cool too. It's like a multi-paneled comic book art, as some people would call it, graphic novel art. You know, it's like the adult way of saying you read comic books. I read graphic novels.
Oh man, there's a difference. The graphic novel, yeah. This is like some of my least favorite type of music in the world. But one thing I really like about this band is the songs are short. So it's not like they're trying to be all heady on you. Like, oh, like you just don't get it, man. Like they're creating these small little palettes of music, which is like really nice. Like I appreciate that they can like do these concise pieces of art. Like that's cool, even though it's really not my thing. Although I would say that song, Jam Master, I don't know, how would you pronounce that, Ben?
Yeah, it is Jam Master, but Rudy misspelled it, I think accidentally, and they just kept the misspelling.
Yeah, like that song kind of brings the heat. You know, it seems like you're seeing like an emo band at like a house show, and then like they hit this one on, and you know, you kind of like start a pit with your friends, and then some PC dude comes out and yells at you, and you feel all awkward. And then after they play, like he comes and gives you like a 1-page flyer about freeing Mumia, and you're like, dude, yeah, free him. Like I don't even care if he's guilty or not. Like let him out, you know. And then you feel all awkward, and that guy like stares at you every time you go to a show there, and makes you feel bad. And this is not a true story, but it could have happened. And but yeah, this is cool. I think we talked to them before, and they seem like they're really good at what they do. I don't like the style of music, so it's hard for me to like really break it down. Dan, how do you feel about this one?
I fucking love this. I really love it. It is sitting in a perfect spot just outside of Embrace, a little bit Dag Nasty, but a lot of their own stuff. I love the way the vocals sound. I love that there's, again, you know, following on from the down and outs, there's a element of occasionally where it isn't the most perfectly like on key, on tune thing, and it makes it have so much more character. The Jam Master song is my favorite because if that riff was being played like or recorded a different way with different vocals, like that's Slamfest 89, you know? I loved all 6 songs. I can't wait for more from this band. This surprised me because sometimes I have, you know, Zach doesn't like this style. Sometimes I have fatigue of stuff that's, you know, lately I find myself liking just the real pocket of things that I love the most. And, you know, we'll listen to other things as the 1 listen or the 2 listens, and then kind of go back to my like pocket of things just in the last couple months. And this has just expanded the pocket, made me want to listen to this again. I listened to it 3 times in the build up to this just today alone, and I really loved it.
That rules. Chris, how do you feel about this?
I like it too. You know, I was hyped on the demo, and it's cool to see them, or the demo, or I guess they have 2 demos, right? Hyped to see them build on, you know, that momentum, and you know, some of those songs are on this, I believe. Really hyped to see them. We're playing with them on December 4th, so it's just, I don't know, especially for a band like this, the live thing can really kind of like take it up to the next level. So I'm psyched to see them. I think, you know, if fans of Revolution Summer stuff will dig this, and I think, you know, fans of current bands along the lines of like Praise or Bent Blue, bands like that, I think will like it as well. The artwork totally rules. It was done by Eric Himlay, who did the Change LP artwork and a few other things for Change. He did the lathe cut, which is like the close up of my hand playing guitar. And he did a flyer for the weekend that we're doing with Fob and Punitive. And he's just an awesome artist, great, incredibly nice person. And yeah, I'm just hyped to see this. I think it looks really cool.
Chris, is the hand art the thing that Marlon had framed?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's super ill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that was a lathe cut.
Ah, awesome. Okay, Chris, let's move on to your choice, which is the band Demand. Is this their demo?
It is. Yeah, so this is a new band. Brad Hyra, who played in Trapped Under Ice, Worn Thin, Lion of Judah, some other bands. This is his new band. You know, so the way that I learned about this band, when I go trail running, I listen to a lot of podcasts. And I was listening to Forum of Passion while I was out running around Mount Rainier. And, Brad Hyra was the guest on it, and he was talking about this new band that he was doing, with Sarah from Firewalker and Stuck Pigs, Zek from, Assassinato, and some others. And the way that he described it got me really hyped, because he said that they're going for kind of that late 80s California hardcore sound. Like, he name dropped Nemesis Records. I think they cited like Hard Stance and Against the Wall, stuff like that. And then Ace also mentioned that he heard like hints of Only the Strong comp on it. So I was like in the middle of the woods, with no reception. And I think after I got back to reception, the first thing I did was I hit you guys up, because like I knew with that like description of like Nemesis Records and Only the Strong that this was one that we're probably going to be hyped on. But then I think the next thing I did after that was I texted Brad and was like, "Hey, what's the scoop on this? What was that snare?"
Someone's hi-hatting it up.
The next thing I did was I texted him and asked him like, "Hey, what's the scoop on this new band? When are the tracks going to be up?" And he actually sent me the songs at that point, but he sent them to me from his phone, so they were like super compressed. And I told him like, "Hey, I think that these songs got compressed when you sent them on the phone." And he's like, "Oh, sorry, I must have sent you the wrong one." So he sent them to me again, and I checked them out again, and they were still compressed. So I was starting to kind of worry, like, "Oh crap, is that what it sounds like? Is it actually just a really bad recording?" So I didn't say anything back to him. I was like, cool. Like, even though like it sounded horrible, like the songs sounded really cool. So, fast forward a month or so later when they actually posted them, I was really relieved that it sounded awesome. But I love this demo. It's like, one of my favorite kind of newer things that have come out this year. Unfortunately, it's not on Bandcamp yet, or sorry, it's not on Spotify yet. It's only on Bandcamp. By the time this airs, it's possible it might be on Spotify. So check it out on Spotify first. But if it's not on there, go to demand.bandcamp.com to check it out. I do think it does sound a lot like, like the description. I can certainly hear like some Against the Wall in there. Maybe a little bit of Hard Stance. The vocals actually remind me a lot of Beyond, actually. All 4 songs are killer. I think the last song, which is Unload/Dispose, is probably my favorite. It's kind of a mid-tempo, like skank beat, and the vocals just really bounce over the tempo, like in a really cool way. And then like there's this part where the song like just slows down a lot. And the vocals on that part are really cool, because he does kind of this different, like actual singing, but it's still in the heart. Like, it's not like, I don't know. It doesn't sound like, I don't know. When someone says they're singing on a hardcore band, like the first thing, or a hardcore song, first thing I think of is like, Typo Negative, or,
Chris, it gets all like Lifetimey at the end. It's like it's a pretty weird left turn at the end of that last song.
It is. It actually reminds me more of like early Seaweed, but it's still rooted in hardcore and not like post-hardcore. I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird kind of turn, but I actually really like it. And, it's one of those songs that when I get to the end of it and I hear that, I'm like, I gotta listen to this again. So I rewind it and listen to all 4 songs again.
It reminds me of Fast
Yeah,
Break.
it's strange. Fast Break. Yeah, it's strange because it just does that at the end. It's such a weird curveball.
Mm-hmm.
Like I guess I just don't listen to much stuff that sounds like that. So my default is saying Lifetime. But yeah, that's such a weird curveball at the end that like God, you have no idea where the band is going to go because the demo is so straightforward up until that point, right? So you have 4 songs of like relatively straightforward hardcore, and then like that's just a strange end. I love the singer's voice on this.
Yeah,
I think it's so cool. He sounds like kind of like perfect punk voice, like perfect like 80s punk voice, but it's over like straightforward hardcore, which is really cool. And I love the dog art. Put an animal on the cover. Dig that. Wish they didn't clip the ears. Just embrace the dog's true beauty. But and the bass tone is like totally ill. I absolutely love it, and it has some real good moments to shine. I love when bass comes out on records. So like, I think it's on the transition on the 3rd song, and I can't pronounce that song if I tried the title of it, but there's a transition when like the bass cuts out and then it goes fast and it's like super ill. And then also the bass really dances on that last song, the Unload Dispose song, really shines through, and it's sick. This is a cool demo. I think it's sick. Dan, what do you think about it?
Are you talking about the song Asceticism?
Yes, Professor Sant.
No, because I really enjoyed this. I've only, had a chance to listen to it 2 or 3 times in the build up to this. I'm going to listen to it a lot more. I did listen to it the first time Chris sent it through. But the thing that I got from it, like driving around listening to it today, is like, and it's funny to mention them again. Oh my God, my mind just went blank. Professor Sant is a dummy.
Been
Kid
smoking
Dynamite.
that Jade dust.
the thing one of the comments I said to myself, like while driving around listening to it, is like, it's like someone got a hold of Kid Dynamite and said, all right, you have to be as fucking hardcore as you possibly can, for the next record. Like, dared him to be really fucking hardcore, and that's kind of what this sounds like to me, because like you say, he's got a great punk voice riding over the hardcore music, and it sounds really great. And I can't wait to, more from the band and to listen to this more.
Bedge, what's your take on this?
I got a little bit of Beyond as well, but it's so hard to pin down what it really reminds me of. Like, Beyond is just a poor approximation, and it's like, it sounds so familiar. It's not like they're coming out of left field and it's music that is a style I've never heard before. It's like East Coast style hardcore with breakdowns, but I just can't think of who it reminds me of. And I guess it doesn't remind me of anyone, but I love it. And I listened to it like 4 times today in a row. And I looked up the definition of asceticism, and it is severe self-discipline and avoidance of all forms of indulgence, typically for religious reasons. So it's almost like another way of saying straight edge.
Shout out to the monks.
Yeah.
Hey, the monks make Buckfast Super B and a couple other boozes, so be wary of those monks.
Well, right on. This rules. Everyone check it out. We're recording this a couple weeks in advance, so maybe it'll change and it'll be on Spotify and the playlist by then, but otherwise you got to check out the Bandcamp. It's demand.bandcamp.com. But just another reminder to everyone, there is a playlist for every episode. You can go to 185milesouth.com, click that playlist link at the top of the page, and check out the music that we are talking about, because we love to blather on about this stuff, but it is all about the music.
How do you do, fellow kids?
What? How do you do, fellow kids?
What?
How do you do, fellow kids?
All right, we're going to talk 2 of the newer big albums that have come out recently. The first one we're going to talk on is the One Step Closer LP. It is titled This Place You Know. And Chris, this gets you right in the feels, doesn't it?
Sure does. Yeah, this is my favorite record of the year so far. In a year that frankly has had a lot of great records. And it was highly anticipated for me. Like I've been looking forward to this record for a long time. So the fact that it delivered, just as hard as like that Akulu record delivered, that's just speaks to the strength of it. It's certainly in the realm of what people would kind of sardonically refer to as amazing core, but I think there's still a lot of turning point in there. It's just done through kind of like a post Have Heart, post Bane, post Title Fight even lens. But like one example is like the use of toms, specifically on the song Pringle Street. There's a part at 127 where it has palm mutes and it's like on the snare and tom. And then when the guitar opens up from the palm mutes, like the drums kick into what we always kind of affectionately referred to as the wipeout beat on the toms. In that move of like going from, into that like wipeout beat, that's vintage Turning Point. And, I don't know. It's that kind of stuff gets me super psyched.
Dude, let me jump in on you real quick. Because where else are you going to get that kind of specific musical breakdown? Only on 185, motherfuckers. What's up? Carry on.
I love that he dropped at minute 127.
That was the illest thing ever. Right on.
You gotta go listen to it because I'm not a drummer and I probably just butchered it. So Pringle Street 127, check it out.
Once you pop, you cannot stop.
The lyrics on this record are really cool. They're much more poetic, not like straightforward hardcore. There's some really incredible lines on it. I really like right before the breakdown of the first song. He says, as this earth spins, so does the clock that takes us away. The lyrics are kind of vague, but in a good way, like in a way that kind of allows you to apply them to your own, the own stuff that you're facing. Like a lot of the lyrics are about depression and isolation. And, this was clearly a record that was written during like in the, midst of this COVID stuff that we were going through. And even though the lyrics are kind of poetic and vague, like, enough to be able to say like, yes, I relate to this. And I think that's really cool. Man, I could go on and on about this record. Like, I'll try to keep it brief. They do some really cool different things on this. Piano, violin, the use of harmonics, the clean backups, but it's, in my opinion, like it's done in a way that it kind of buries them a little bit in the mix, like just enough so it's not like a jarring like departure of genre. It's more like subtle atmospheric touches, and I don't know. I just think it's done really tastefully. Standout tracks, Lead to Grey is still probably my favorite one. That's the first single that they released from this. But I would say a close second and maybe bound to like pass Lead to Grey is the last song, As the City Sleeps. It's a song about the opioid epidemic that Wilkes-Barre and frankly, like a lot of towns across this country are coping with. So the lyrics are really cool, but it's just, there's a lot of creativity on this song too that like makes it stand out. The chorus part has like these chokes and the vocals just kind of bounce across the breaks between the guitars in a super cool way. And I really like the end, like the bridge to the end of the song has guest vocals from the dude from Magnitude, and his voice just sounds really cool on this, and it works really well with the singer of One Step Closer's vocals. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I could go on and on about this record, but I will stop and let someone else talk about it now.
I think that was a really fair comparison, like with the Ukulu, because both albums being very, very anticipated, and then both like dropping singles and the build up for it. And Akulu and this band, both when I heard them, because this band did a 7-inch first too, right, Chris?
Yeah, 12-inch EP, I think.
A 12-inch EP. Yeah, and I was like, these are both like LP bands. Like that's like the time for these bands to shine. And Akulu like blew me away. I wasn't like a huge fan of the 7-inches. It just wasn't enough material for me to sink into like that style. And then the single was kind of like, I actually really enjoy that song in the context of the LP, but I don't think it was like the banger single like this band put out. I really think that the Lead to Great song off this, it was the first single, like Chris said, and it's like above and beyond the best song on here. It's pretty out of this world, like what they do with it, like kind of using like like it's like an open string, like speed picking a little bit in the beginning, and then the main riff is just 3 notes. And so it's like when you're making something sound so epic, and it's like going back to like total punk roots in the way of like you're making something magical out of something so simple. Like that's really, really brilliant. And it sounds so powerful, like the way it is. Like if you were a Sloppo band and you did that riff, like it would sound like dog shit, right? But they like totally knock it out of the park. It's wild. His voice sounds super urgent and great on all this stuff. I will say, like the clean singing, I really, really don't like it. It's just, but there's no one that sings like that over heavy music that I like. So that's a personal preference thing, not like a judgment of what they're doing. But that stuff takes me out of it, where I wish it was just like that great kind of monotone yelling voice the whole time. But killer band, taking lots of risks on a first LP, you know, like Hereafter is like a straight up ballad. So they went there, you know, like love it, bump it or dump it. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is. And I really respect them for going there. They take a lot of risks here. I think it is a great effort, although not 100% in my lane. Dan, what's your take on this?
I actually think that they sound more Turning Point on the original 2019 release. And I feel like on this release, it is definitely, you know, Chris alluded to it, it's channeling a bit more of the Bane, Have Heart, and even more modern things like Mil-Spec or Fiddlehead, perhaps, a little bit. But yeah, it's chock full of emotion. It's very clever lyrics. That's what I take from it, even more than the music approach. I dived into the lyrics because I really enjoyed the lyrics on the first release. So I wanted to, you know, see what these songs were saying. And like Chris said, the last song about the opioid epidemic, as well as the song Chrysanthemum, which is just a grief-stricken song that is really powerful. And then, yeah, my favorite song is the one that you both like the best too. So we've got some consensus there. I think if you're a fan of Bane and you haven't heard this band before, I think you're going to really just ravenously like enjoy this record. And if you haven't heard them before, go back to their 2019 release too, which I feel has a lot more of the later Turning Point sound. You know, the Thursday, etc. But it's a great effort for a first full length, and I think this band is going to be the one. Like when you see them live, you're going to be like, oh, it just kicked it up a notch. You know, the way that we were just talking about other bands that we're hoping the live display is as good as the record. You know, enhances the record for you after seeing them live. And I think that will probably happen for me. I did watch their video of them playing Sound and Fury back in 2019, and I loved that, but I wasn't in the room, so I'm looking forward to seeing them live at some point. And this is really good, and I think 185 listeners are gonna dive in and love it.
Yeah, I think this is going to be one of the biggest hardcore bands, like, for sure. Because if Bane's breakup left a empty space in you, and look, the people that loved Bane, it's like one step away from being Fish or some shit, people loved them, and you know why, they're a creative band. Aaron wore his heart on his sleeve, and I think this band can pick up a lot of that, I saw them live in September. They were great, and again, it's not a style I love. And they played with all bands I did really love. They played with Darren, Drain, and Terror. And so they're the standout, kind of genre in that bill, and they killed it, and people loved them. And that was in a small room. And I just think that they're gonna, sky's the limit for this band. They're really ambitious, and they're really going for it. Ben, what's your take on this?
I totally also get that rivalry record circa 2005 vibe from them.
For sure. If this band takes off, Whitlow's got to fire up the old the label again.
Yeah. They would have fit in with bands like Killing the Dream, Modern Life is War, and Go It Alone. And that song, Leave Me Behind, could totally be a Bane song from that album, The Note, mid-2000s Bane. But since they're doing this in 2021, they're not fitting in. And I think there's peer pressure within hardcore to keep it hard and heavy and avoid getting too emotional out of the fear of getting that scarlet E put on you. And I'm saying the peer pressure thing because I heard an interview with one of the guys in this band on another podcast, and he totally is you could hear that he talked about it. He talked about sort of almost an insecurity of man, I don't know how people are going to take us. And I know everyone wants to play heavy mosh parts right now in hardcore. And we're doing something a little different. And it's an ambivalence, but not ambivalent enough to not do this kind of music. They're obviously doing it. And I think that if you're keeping a thing alive, for example, the first step was keeping the Youth Crew thing alive when very, very few bands were doing that in the early 2000s. That does put you in a good position to if let's say this sound comes back in a big way, well, who's the band that everyone's looking towards? It's one step closer. I don't hear that much Turning Point, but most of the bands I mentioned were trying to sound like Turning Point too. So you try to sound like a band, you're going to sound like other bands that are trying to sound like that band. It's the trick that someone explained to me. The trick to really trying to capture an era is try to sound like the era before that, because the era you're trying to capture is everyone looking back 5 years, which is totally true.
Yeah, Ben, completely. It's when we were talking about the first step. It's they're not doing Youth of Today. They're doing Youth of Today through the mouthpiece filter, right. And these guys they're doing Turning Point, but it's through the Have Heart or the Bane filter, right?
Totally. And I'd say my criticism is that there's a lot of sameness on across the album. They're not, I can't pick out songs that sound super different than other songs. I guess there's not that much variety. What you're getting from the first or second song, and the vocals are kind of this. I call it cry yelling. It's like you're yelling. If you're yelling and crying at the same time, kind of thing. I mean, I like bands that do that too, but it's very continuous, but as Zach likes to say, I'm rooting for them. So I'm rooting for these guys. And I think, they're going to come up with some good shit in the next couple years.
Yeah, and
I think that
point, sorry. In regard to that point about the influence, I mean, yeah, the first step, you can't help but take on board everything that's come before you, even subconsciously. You know what I mean? Like, you might, like, of course, there are some demo core bands that just literally go to be one thing. But other than that, like, if you like a sound, you're kind of taking the entire, like, train, like, every car on the train is that next era, next era, next era. And it's all, like, coming on board as influence, even if you are directly trying to be up in the first car, you know?
Yeah, it's like try to sound like the Beatles without having Oasis in your music, or try to sound like Discharge without having tragedy seep through. It's like it's a really tough thing to do.
Yeah, and it's what makes like current music so good though too. Is it's all the building blocks, right? So it's like you don't have to harken back. Like, I mean, if you think about like stuff in 89 or 88, like what is their influence? Like, they have to go to a lot of weirdo stuff. And like, if you think about like the early punk, they're harkening back to stuff that's like not punk, you know? But now it's like you have 40 years of stuff to build off of. Like, you can really cherry pick moments from like all sorts of different subgenres and make like really interesting things.
Yeah, I think, if you read interviews with these guys too, like they're pulling in a lot of influences from lots of different places. Like, I've seen them do interviews where, they'll cite like a Turning Point, but also like cite Boxcar Racer or like Sunny Day Real Estate. Like, they're pulling in all kinds of different influences. And when I read some of those interviews, before the record came out, I was kind of like, I wonder, is this going to be a hardcore record, or is this going to be where they kind of start the switch over to, more of a band like Anxious, which some of those dudes are in. But I mean, it's certainly definitely a hardcore. Like, you can hear all those little influences throughout it, but I love that it's just straight up hardcore still.
Oh, this is definitely a hardcore LP. And, if they're influenced by Boxcar Racer, that means they're slightly influenced by OMDB. So, you can't get more hardcore than that.
No, they skipped from Built to Last Boxcar Racer. Sorry, OMDB. All right.
You guys, one more thing on this band. If you guys want to feel real old, these guys are pretty young. Like, this, I believe this is like, they're in the generation that came up under Title Fight. So like, I don't know about you guys, but like, I remember when all those Title Fight kids were like, Alex's little brother and, little brothers.
Well, Title Fight's a brand new band to me. So yes.
Yeah.
Well, as long as
let's move on.
As long as they're fans of the band as long as they're fans of the Title Fight album Hyperview, I'm down with that.
All right, well, right on. Let's see. Let's talk about the next record we're going to talk on, and that is the second Chubby and the Gang LP. It's called The Mutts Nuts, and it came out this year. And Ben, you were saying this is one of your favorite records of the year. What's up?
Yeah, I think on this very podcast, I said that their first album was my favorite record of 2020. And here we are in 2021, and their second album has come out fairly recently, and might be my favorite album of this year too. So it's kind of like punk rock and roll. I've heard that term used many times over the years, and I think that is very fitting of this style of music. Some of these guys have mullets. I don't know how I feel about that, but it's all good. You listen to music, you don't look at music. They're sort of like the halfway point between UK punk and AC/DC, which is like a pretty good formula. Amyl and the Sniffers do something similar down in Australia, but I like this band so much more than Amyl and the Sniffers. To me, like, their standout tracks are Coming Up Tough, which is very AC/DC sounding, and Pressure, which is a little more up-tempo, and it's got some wah-wah pedal abuse towards the end. And then there's this like slide guitar rager called Lightning Don't Strike Twice. And it's got this like Rolling Stones style breakdown. Like, the song gets slow and it's like, this sounds like it could be like a Rolling Stones song from 1970. And then it starts picking up and getting fast again. and they do 3 ballads on this album, and 2 don't really work for me, but one of them might be the best song on the album, which is I Hate the Radio. So I appreciate that they're willing to take the gamble on slower songs, because that gamble paid off with I Hate the Radio. And it's really tough to write a good punk song that is slow. It's almost an oxymoron. You know, what defines punk? It's like fast music. So it's really hard to do that. So I appreciate it when it works. And I know a few people who are turned off by the vocals, but they don't bother me at all. And that my only very minor criticism is that the cover art of this album looks very similar to the cover art of their first album. And there's like a fine line between having a consistent look to your art and then having all your art look the same. And so I always have to like read the title of the record as I'm looking at it to figure out like what record am I looking at right now. And, but this is like totally not a sophomore slump at all. And it's really hard to do when there's only like a year and a half between your first 2 albums. Usually what happens when a band has a very short period of time to write a lot of songs as a follow-up is they run out of ideas, but this is a great album. So that didn't happen here.
Yeah. My standout back-to-back songs on this are the Someone's Gonna Die and Getting Beat Again. It's just 2 like really good up-tempo songs back to back that are probably just in like the straight pop punk vein. Is really catchy, really good. And yeah, I mean, like if you like the first one, it seems like you like the second one. Chris, how do you feel about this one? And then also how do you compare it to the first one?
Good question. So when I first put this on, it really didn't grab me at first listen. And my first impression was that it wasn't as good as the last record. And then to kind of compound that, this record came out a week after the Dare record and the Ingrown record came out. So like I was still heavily listening to both of those records, and it was kind of like a, you know, put it on, it's good. I'm going to go back and listen to that Ingrown and Dare record again. So, you know, that was kind of my opinion for a couple weeks, couple months until I came back to it. And, you know, as I listened to it more, it kind of made me remember that the first record didn't really grab me until the first few listens. And this one's kind of the same, you know, like the first record, I listened to it a couple times, and then literally one day I was walking the dog and I had it on my headphones and I was like, this is incredible. Like, you know, like the brilliance just hit me. And this record kind of, I had a similar progression with it. Probably a little bit more gap between just because that Dare and Ingrown record have been spinning so heavily. But, the other thing too, there's a lot of songs on this. I could certainly there's a few that I could do without, but there's a lot of like straight up hits on this record. You know, there's a lot more rock and roll. But I think, you know, Ben mentioned the vocals. I like the singer, but I do think that his vocals are what kind of keeps it rooted in punk. Whereas, you know, if there was a singer that had more range and really just kind of belted out like a lot of highs and a lot of lows, like it would take it out of that punk and put it more in, you know, like the Thin Lizzy or like Rose Tattoo Lane. There's a couple songs on here that could be like straight up Beatles songs. Like I Hate the Radio certainly could be a Beatles song. Life's Lemon maybe has like a little bit of like 50s doo-wop thrown in there too. My standout track is Life on the Bayou, which is, I believe, on the back half of the record, like the B-side. But this is probably my favorite Chubby track to date. Again, you know, it's a lot more straight up rock and roll and less punk. But what I love about the song is the chorus is so catchy, like unbelievably catchy. And then there's this part where the pianos kick in and it just kind of takes it up to the next level. And the song does a thing that I hate with very few exception. where it basically has a fake ending. And you're like, okay. And it ends like right where you think like a good punk or hardcore song should end. And then they come back again for it. And 9 out of 10 times, 19 out of 20 times, like, I'm of the opinion that it probably just should have ended when it ended. But for this one, I love it. Like, because that part is maybe my favorite, like, Chubby part of any song. The fact that I get like bonus rounds of it, I love it. Like, it's just straight up fire. What Daniel will appreciate that, but bonus points for referencing Brentford. So shout out to People Just Do Nothing. I assume that the Brentford Bayou that he talks about is where Beats takes his grown son Craig to go fishing. Bang! Lyrical blow to the jaw.
How about that? All right, Dan, what's your take?
Shout out to Steve's nan. I don't like it as much as the first LP. That being said, I still like it a lot. The first LP I absolutely loved. This has a lot more variety on it, but as Ben said, there are a couple missteps. Like I agree with Ben. 2 of those ballads don't really work that well.
Which 2? Same 2?
Yeah, Life's Lemons and Take Me Back to London or whatever. Not that great. I really like the beginning of the LP. I like the On the Meter and Beat That Drum. I love the Mutts Nuts title track, and then Coming Up Tough, which is essentially a reworking of Disco 2000 by Pulp, which is essentially a reworking of Gloria by Laura Branigan. So listen to all 3 of those songs if you want to nerd out, because they all have the same, features. But it's a really catchy song. Just the one thing that they've suffered from on the sophomore thing is songs are too long and the LP is too long for me. But I love it still. I listen to it a lot. It's so weird, but what I loved about the production on the first LP is it harnessed his vocals to perfection. Like the vocals were a little bit too low in the mix, but it almost was just another instrument in the output of the band. With this, like on the things where the vocals are, like there's a song called White Rags, which has incredibly great lyrics, but the song is fucking unlistenable for me, even though the lyrics are really great. So that's a skipper for me. There's a lot of Thin Lizzy bluesy leads and riffs that were more undertones, jam, power pop on the first LP, and they're a bit more bluesy and a little bit more like, let me show you my chops on this LP. And they've been a band longer, they're expressing themselves more, and they're trying to not just give you Exhibit A again, but some of us want Exhibit A again, Anyway, I'll be seeing them really soon, so I will come back with a scene report.
Hell yeah. One thing, you mentioned the length of this record, and earlier on the pod we were talking about Boys from the Black Stuff being 41 minutes and 21 seconds. This Chubby record is 42 minutes and 52 seconds, so it's more than a minute longer.
I noticed that too.
It's a long boy. Yep. All right. Well, right on. Check out these 2 records. There are samples on the playlist for this episode, and they are both on Spotify. Order that vinyl as well. Handle business, people.
The fight lasts for hours, each ram battering the other dozens of times.
Head to head.
All right, we are going head to head. This year, 2 great split 7-inches came out, but I'm taking the best side of each split and putting them against each other. And you know what I'm talking about. I'm taking the Pain of Truth side of the Pain of Truth Age of Apocalypse split 7-inch, and I'm taking the Gridiron side of the Gridiron Despise split 7-inch Worldwide Brotherhood. They both came out this year. And Ben, this is your favorite style of hardcore, so we'll send it to you first. Do you like Pain of Truth more, or you like Gridiron more?
Well, let's start with Gridiron. The song Creepin' is a hip-hop instrumental, and I'm trying to figure out if it would qualify as SoCal G-Funk or Bay Area mob music. Some of these guys are from Detroit, so maybe they're fans of Michigan great MC Breed, rest in peace. Moving on to the song Ain't Turned Mine. That sounds like the 311 singer rapping over double kick drum metal. And then Cookie Monster grabs the mic from the 311 guy and yells over some halftime mosh metal. The song Triple Threat sounds like the song that came just before it. And it has pick harmonics and a Slayer riff underneath the ridiculously loud double kick beat. So the bass drum pedal is the star of the band. Moving on to Pain of Truth, Blood on Your Hands pretty much sounds like the same band as Gridiron if someone stole their double kick bass drum pedal. And then Zach Oxnard makes a guest vocal appearance at the 1 minute 40-second mark of the song. And oh shit, 2 minutes 29 seconds in, and they stole the double bass drum pedal back. There's a movie sample. There's a movie sample at the end that I don't recognize.
Soprano sample.
Oh, it's Sopranos. Okay, because I was wondering if it was.
I thought it was Bronx Tale.
No, I think it's Sopranos where Christopher's getting made.
Okay.
I burn in hell if I betray my friends. And I was hoping it was a mobster movie, and judging by the accent, there's a good chance of that. And thank you that if either of you are right, it is a mob related show. Very ignorant. And then moving on to the song Scarred, it has a good Igno speech halfway through it, something about brotherhood and naming where they're from and the word motherfucker getting thrown around. I wonder if these guys are tight with the band Tsunami. So I guess I'm picking. Oh, they are. Okay, good. I guess I'm picking Gridiron because that hip hop intro fits into my chug free lifestyle.
All right. 1 vote for Gridiron. This Gridiron recording is so perfect for the genre. It's so clean. You can hear everything. And the dude's flow is really catchy. And the songwriting is pretty interesting. Like, it's like the first verse, it's just like 2 verses that repeat themselves, right? It's like first verse and then a second verse, and then it goes back into the first verse. Then it goes into the second verse. But they're both kind of catchy, but there's no like real chorus. It's really cool. I enjoy it. The Triple Threat song, yeah, it's definitely like they lifted a Slayer thing for sure. And it's cool, but the recording's amazing, and it's just really catchy for the genre. It's everything I like about the genre. It's so easy to listen to. You're banging your head. Tempo changes. I don't know. I really like it. I think it's great. And the art is like a total like E-Town throwback. It looks like the Fuck the World 7-inch. So it's pretty cool. The Pain of Truth, the recording is not as good. It's actually kind of a weird recording, I think. Like the guitar sounds a little fuzzy. And but I do like they almost throw it back to the piccolo snare. Like it sounds like it's almost piccolo, but they don't go all the way there. Probably because on the second song they do have a fast part, and the piccolo snare works really well on anything but a fast beat, where it's just way too much. But I think Pain of Truth, like their songwriting is again really awesome. They have some dual vocals. I don't know what's going on there. And normally I hate that, but I think it really works here. Any other time I can think of where bands have like a lot of vocals going on in this style, it's like it would be better off with just one singer. But this really works, and I like both guys' voices a lot. Blood on Your Hands, great intro. And the song is very bouncy, and it goes between bounce and beatdown. 2 things that I love. And then Scarred, this is probably my favorite song of the 4. It's got a fast part, which is really good. Then goes to like a beatdown tempo, and then it goes fast again, like a really short amount of time before it goes to the breakdown. And that's like a hardcore trope I love. There's a Madball song on Hold It Down that does that. It's like you go verse, chorus, half verse, and then into the breakdown. I think it's like a really underrated way to write a song. And yeah, when they do like the long ring out on the breakdown, it's sick because like they ring it out and then they bring in like the strumming, and then the drummer, he does like some pretty quick little tricks. Like he'll go to the ride for like an instant. And I don't know, there's just a lot going on here. I think it's really, really creative songwriting for the genre, like basically apex beatdown, you know, and it's great. I am going to go with The Pain of Truth, and it's because I think that the song Scarred is the best of all these songs, although I love the Gridiron song Ain't Turned Mine. I love both these bands. So, yeah, we got one for Gridiron, one for Pain of Truth. Dan, what's your take?
Well, first off, Ben, there ain't no future in your fronting, because it's not just an instrumental. They're going, Gridiron, baby, on there as well.
I'm glad you got the MC Breed reference, yeah.
Yes. The Gridiron songs are really fucking igno, and that's exactly what is... well, I mean, you just look at Graffiti Dude holding craps on Snake Eyes with a gun. You know what you're getting. Like, no matter what you want. Like
a smoking gun, too.
Yes.
It's been discharged.
Yeah. Bow, 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 bow. It's really, really, really well done. Let's call it. God, what would the description be? Tech vest, bubble vest, core. You know, thin goatee core. Like, do you know what I mean? Like a very thin chin strap beard, bubble vest, mean look in the eyes. And, you know, these are the dudes that are about to hit you so hard in the pit that members of your family are going, ah! So Gridiron really lay it down for this. But Pain of Truth, they do two things on their songs that I absolutely love so much. First and foremost, they do we're going to take a break from the regular vocal program of this song to give you the Tsunami style, like, yo, just so you know, we're blah, 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 like almost like this is what it is, like check in, which I love it. I love that stuff. And then you talked about the two vocals going at once. It's almost like harmony, the way that the really deep vocal and the main singer's vocal are doing the same lyrics at the same time. It sounds great together. Whereas, like you say, normally that would be awful. Pain of Truth takes it for me, although I really enjoyed both. But a special nod to me thinking that when we first started listening to this as part of this like program to do tonight, that I didn't know it was a Pain of Truth split. And then the third song comes on by Age of Apocalypse. I'm like, wow, they took a left turn on this one. Like, whoa, this is very different. And then, you know, I figured out it was a split, and that Age of Apocalypse, some wild stuff. Pain of Truth takes down Gridiron for me, but I enjoyed both. And now I'm going to order both 7 inches and glue them together to make it a split of these two bands.
Yeah, epic split. All right, Chris, let's go to you.
This is an interesting debate because these are two bands that you listen to the record, these recordings, these bands don't really sound like each other. You're not going to listen to one and get it confused with the other, but if you were to, break down what they sound like, you might use the exact same words. Modern beatdown, vocals are bouncy, almost rapped with, catchy beatdown lyrics that are true to the genre. Both have backup vocals that are even more gnarly than the rapping kind of style singer, more in like that Hatebreed vein than the lead vocals. Lots of overly slow palm mutes with, choked notes that give a lot of space in between the guitar hits. Tasteful touch of metal leads. If I gave you that description, you wouldn't be able to tell me which of these two bands I was talking about. But again, they sound quite different when you listen to them. But these are both grade A beatdown bands. You wouldn't catch me anywhere near a pit for either of these bands at this stage of my life, but I would absolutely find the best, viewing spot that I could to just safely watch my friends just beat the ever-loving hell out of each other, with a giant smile on my face. So what we have here, basically, the way that Zach set it up, is the second round in a March Madness style beat down bracket. And these two bands...
Chris, don't you dare call it a beat off.
Oh no. I don't even know where to go for. I'm going to shut it down. All right. Turn it over to you guys.
You gotta be big.
I know. So both of these bands have gotten out of the first round. No disrespect to Despise or Age of Apocalypse. Both of those are sick. These are just that next level. The funny thing is we're going into overtime because I'm going to take Gridiron. We're going to have to get Joe in here or something, episode 1, to come take it to overtime. But I think both of these sound great for the genre. But I personally like the Gridiron recording a lot better. Like Zach, you nailed it. Like it's brighter, it's more present. And for me, stylistically, I appreciate that more than like the Pain of Truth is a good recording, but it's a lot of deeper low end, which is also, a production style, but the Gridiron production style just hits me more.
May I just talk about Gridiron again for a sec? Because
let's talk about it all day.
Okay. Well,
let me hit two more things real quick.
Yeah.
I also love on Gridiron when the backup vocals on the song Triple Threat. I love when the backup vocalist bounces double time. That's like one of my favorite beatdown vocal moves is when they go double time over it. And then, also shout out Pain of Truth's Scarred is a killer song, and respect for a beatdown song that leads with a fast riff.
Yeah. I think that just before you jump in, Dan, like these are like superb songs of this genre. And again, I got to give more shine to that Gridiron recording is like perfect for the genre. But both these bands, like they're writing like short, concise, catchy songs. Like a lot of the bands of like the beatdown genre, like they can really like grate on you. Like the songs can be too long, right? Like I don't think Hatebreed's a beatdown band, but I'm going to use them as an example. Satisfaction as the Death of Desire comes out, and it's a perfect album because all the songs are short, right? It's like they're so in the hardcore vein because all the songs are under 2 minutes, and a lot of the bands that like did the tough style after Hatebreed, like they forgot that part. And that was like one of the parts that made it so spectacular was it was this short bursts of fury. And I think that both these bands, like, they kind of channel that in a way, not that they sound like Hatebreed at all, but like these songs are really short. They get the ideas out and they move on to the next one. And then also like the way that they've both released music, it hasn't been like a ton of songs. Like I'm not having to like fight my way through like 10 songs to find the 3 good ones. It's just like both these bands, every song they put out are just bangers. Like I absolutely love these bands. Dan, sorry.
One thing I was going to say is the thing about Gridiron, well, they're made up of all your favorite bands too, Zach. You know, Never Ending Game, Year of the Knife, and Payback dudes are all in this band. But the one thing, like, yes, they are a modern beatdown band in 2021, but they're also like the next in line to the throne of Jesus Christ, District 9, because they've got like some District 9 like YOLO-ness to them. When I listened to it, I was like, this is giving me District 9 vibes, even though it's also giving me 2021 very heavy beatdown, like what is popular now, you know. But listen to it again and like think about District 9, like especially like Payback, vocal delivery, and there's something there with it.
Well, yeah, because those bands, they get lumped into beatdown, but they're not, right? Like District 9 or E-Town or Cold as Life, and all of those bands have like full YOLO in them. Like E-Town at the end of Shady, like it going like that, going back and forth between like a fast beat and a bounce beat at the end. Cold as Life doing like that scissor beat at the beginning of Little from the World, like just in like short bursts. Like there's so much YOLO, and like the apex of like hardcore is that it's just doing some wild shit in short creative bursts that works. And it doesn't matter what style you're doing, but like that is the secret sauce. And bands across all different genres channel it in different ways, and the great ones are able to do it well. You know, I was really hoping that you would like a little bit of this, Ben, just in a way like where, oh, this is catchy, where I don't like the style, but like it's not boring. You know what I mean? Like, was it boring to you, or is it grating, or like what does it like sound like to a fan that doesn't like the genre at all? Because like I can listen to like Jade Dust, right, where it's one of my least favorite genres of music, and at least like listen to it and be like, these guys seem really competent in what they do. And like, here's one song I like that kind of like tickles me in the right spot. You don't get any of that?
The thing that tickles me is imagining you listening to these bands and then like getting so stoked, like, oh man, oh that part, that bass drum pedal part and the fucking mosh part at the end. And like, just imagining Zach being like, fuck yeah. Like that part, like just imagining that is cool to me. But hearing the music on its own, it's just like the opposite. Like what kind of music does Ben like? Okay, well, let's reverse engineer it and then make everything the exact opposite of what Ben said. You get this. Like it's the opposite of what I like in every respect. Like, okay, they used guitar, bass, and drums and vocals. So instrumentally, that they have that in common with music that I like. But what they're playing, how it sounds, what they're singing, literally everything is like the reverse of what I like.
But you like Double Kick when Beyond does it.
They're the only band. But you're right.
All right.
There's one band. Even actual heavy metal bands.
So weird.
Yeah, even like Judas Priest, you know, when they did Painkiller in 1990, and they were doing double bass drum, and people love Painkiller. Like Judas Priest is back. Like that Turbo album was fucking weak, and this shit, it rules. Like when I listen to that, I'm like, they fucked Judas Priest up with double kick pedal too. Like I just hate that
Turbo
shit.
Was so weak.
It was weak.
Turbo
No, it was. But Painkiller, it's like I can't hang. I can't hang with that shit.
Well, they do say Strong Island, Ben. So you got to love that. Pain of Truth.
Oh, that's
does.
true. That's true.
And can we insert a new 185 term for the piccolo drum that is not quite piccolo? Can it be flute drum?
It's the Cassie Piccolo, aka the flute drum.
Yeah,
I like it. All right, well, right on. This is a fun episode. It's great talking new music with all you dudes. And everyone check out the playlist, 185milessouth.com. Click that playlist link at the top and listen to the music that we talked about this episode, because that's what it's all about. And we will talk to you all on Monday. Boom.